Welcome back to Beautiful Work, Beautiful Life. If you are a longtime listener, thank you. I appreciate you. And if you're a new listener, welcome. You are going to enjoy being part of this community. Why do I know that? Because everyone in this community is doing inner work. So if you're doing inner work, if you are creating a beautiful life, if you are looking to be the best version of yourself you can be, you're in the right place and you are in good company. So, what are we talking about today? We're talking about something that many of us, me included, struggle with. And it touches that place for high achievers, leaders, people who care deeply about the work they're doing and the world that they're doing it in. All month long, we've been talking about gratitude and creativity. And when I think about creativity, I'm not talking just about creativity in an artistic sense, but rather a way of responding to life with intention, courage, and alignment. So today we're closing out that theme of creativity by exploring rest as radical creativity, an idea that I hope will shift the way you think about rest, productivity, inspiration, and possibility. We're going to explore why sometimes the most creative thing you can do is slow down, stop the doing, and simply rest. And if you've been feeling rather stretched thin or uninspired, this conversation will remind you how doing less can actually help you create more. And I don't mean more things. I mean create a life that is more aligned with your true self and a life that you believe is beautiful. Before we dive in, I want to introduce myself and my co-host. I'm Laurel Boivin. I'm a life and leadership coach. You'll find more information about me and the work I do in the show notes. My podcast partner and dear friend, Laurel Holland, is a life coach and an author. You'll find information about her, the work she does, and the books that she has written in the show notes. You'll also find our contact information. So please feel free to reach out to us whenever you need to. We are here to support you. That is why we do what we do. And we love doing it. So together, Laurel and I bring conversations designed to help you live more beautifully, more intentionally, and more in tune with your wisest, truest self. And that is why we're glad you're here. We really are here because of you. So I want to start today's conversation with a concept, a belief that many of us hold, many of us were raised with, and that is the belief that rest is something you have to earn. That rest is something you're entitled to after you finish all the work, after your inbox is emptied, after everyone else's needs have been taken care of. But I want to tell you that is not true. I see it time and time again. I see it in my coaching work. I see it in my own life, that the most meaningful creativity does not come from a place of exhaustion or completeness. It doesn't have to wait until you are done taking care of everyone else. It can come from a place of a calm nervous system, spaciousness, and time to rest. Creativity doesn't come from forcing or pushing or hustling. It comes from rest. I don't know about you, but my best ideas rarely show up when I'm staring at my laptop, waiting for inspiration. Oh no. My best ideas, my most creative ideas, come to me when I'm on a walk, when I'm in the shower, when I'm taking a break, or when I'm allowing myself 5 minutes of silence. And all of those things are rest. Those things are restorative. Rest is something that's been on my mind for the last couple of years, and I've been learning a lot about. It's a topic that comes up frequently in my work. With my clients, in presentations to audiences, rest is an important topic. My understanding of rest has changed so much because of a book that I read. I've read it a couple times. Sacred Rest by Dr. Saundra Dalton-Smith. I'll put the book and a link to the rest quiz that she has out there for you in the show notes. I've taken the rest quiz more than once to really look at, where am I exhausted? Where do I need rest? In the book, Sacred Rest, the author describes the 7 types of rest that humans need. This framework has been so helpful for me because most of us, including me, think that rest means sleep or taking time off, but it is actually so much more. The 7 types of rest include physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, sensory, and creative rest. And today I just want to touch on 4 types of rest and then talk about creative rest. So the 4 types of rest I want to share with you are physical rest, mental rest, emotional rest, and spiritual rest, and then creative rest. So physical rest, we all know what that is, and we think often that it's about sleep or relaxing. But I want to tell you that there are 2 types of physical rest. One is active and one is passive. Passive is sleep. Active physical rest might look like yoga. It might look like meditation. These are the things that we need: stillness, slowing down, gentle movement to restore the body. And how do you know when you're depleted or you need physical rest? Typically, there are physical signs of that. Maybe your jaw is tight, your neck is cranky, or you're dragging through the day. You run out of energy by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Physical rest can be simple as 10 minutes of laying down, maybe 10 minutes of sitting in the sunlight, stretching, or an early bedtime. Think of physical rest as preparing the canvas for anything beautiful that can be created. Next is mental rest. How many of you have a brain that is working overdrive, overtime? I know mine does. When I try to go to sleep at night and I have a zillion thoughts on my head that I need to just quiet and stop solving the problems. Mental rest gives your mind space from the constant decision-making, planning, problem-solving, thinking. Signs that you need mental rest include racing thoughts, difficulty focusing, mind chatter, especially at bedtime. Simple practices to give you some mental rest or restoration include a no input walk. That means take a walk without listening to a podcast or listening to an audiobook or listening to music. Just take a walk and notice the sounds, the smells, the sights around you. Another simple practice could be a 5-minute brain dump. It could be rage writing. Get all of those thoughts out of your head and onto a paper. Just get them out of your head. Another idea is to set a time in the evening when you stop making decisions. Maybe it's 8 o'clock at night. No more decisions are your responsibility at that point. You can put them off until tomorrow. These types of simple practices will give your brain some downtime. And in this world of information overload, it's really hard to give your brain downtime. This type of rest, mental rest, clears the clutter so that inspiration has room to land. The third is emotional rest. Emotional rest is the permission to be your true, authentic self without performing, without pleasing, without holding it all together. When was the last time you did that? When we're emotionally depleted, we often experience resentment, irritability, or we try to carry all of the things. We try to manage everyone else's needs, and we carry the weight of the world. Emotional rest might look like telling the truth as you're writing in your journal. It could look like having a real conversation with someone you trust and allowing yourself to feel what you feel, to experience your own emotions without judgment. Emotional rest is like rinsing the paintbrush so that the colors don't all blend together and look like mud. Spiritual rest. Spiritual rest reconnects us with meaning and purpose and something larger than ourselves. Spiritual rest is connecting with something bigger than yourself. Whatever that means to you, it could be a community, it could be a church, it could be nature, where you are just one small being. And you can feel the connection, your connection to something greater. When we are in need of spiritual rest, when we're lacking spiritual rest, life can feel flat. We feel disconnected. We carry a heaviness. Spiritual rest can look like prayer, meditation, time in nature, or simply noticing beauty around you. Spiritual rest reminds us that we're not the only ones doing the creating, that we are co-creating with life itself. So all of those really just kind of give you some sense of a few types of rest before we get into creative rest. Creative rest is the rest we receive from beauty, from experiencing beautiful things, nature, music, color, art, inspiration. Creative rest is when we experience awe. If you're depleted in this area, life feels gray, bland. Your ideas feel flat. Those things that used to light you up no longer do. You've lost your passion for things that you used to be passionate about. There are some simple ways to invite creative rest into your life. Just step outside and notice 3 beautiful things. Listen to music that moves you. Add one small element of beauty to your space, or give yourself a moment of awe. If you need awe in your life, I'm going to say, look at some images. Even if you're looking online, look at Yosemite National Park, look at the Grand Canyon, look to the sky. Find ways to be in awe. Creative rest isn't indulgent. It is nourishing. So as we look across the different types of rest, this is where the heart of today's theme comes from. Rest as radical creativity. Rest isn't simply the absence of work. Rest isn't time off. Rest is what creates your capacity for inspired, meaningful creation. It's what shapes the quality of your ideas, the clarity of your decisions, and the courage of your choices. Rest creates the conditions for your creativity to thrive. Doing less isn't about laziness. It is really about discernment. Be discerning. It's an invitation to stop pouring from an empty cup and to fill yourself in ways that allow your creativity to become sustainable, joyful, and true. It is about you being sustained and fulfilled. When you allow yourself to rest physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, creatively, you're not stepping away from life. You're stepping into it with more clarity, presence, and possibility. This is why doing less brings more. Because rest renews your creativity. It restores your spirit. Before we wind down, I want to guide you through a gentle check-in. There's nothing to solve. Just notice. How tired is your body? How busy is your mind? Where are you holding emotions? Are you holding heaviness? Are you holding anxiousness? Where do you feel disconnected from meaning and purpose? Where does life feel uninspiring or flat? And now, if you are able to do so, close your eyes. Place a hand on your heart and on your belly. Take one slow breath. Offer yourself a moment of gratitude, not for what you've accomplished, but what you've carried. Gratitude for what you've lived through, what you've learned, what you've navigated. Gratitude for quiet resilience that has brought you to this moment. Let that gratitude be a kind of rest. Let it restore you. So with all this talk about rest and the different kinds of rest and the ways to restore yourself feels like a lot, I want you just to choose one. Choose one kind of rest to focus on this week. Because one small shift can create a ripple effect through the rest of your life. That's what happened for me after I read this book, after I began to devote time and be intentional about the rest that I needed and the rest that I was getting. When I learned more about the different types of rest and which I needed the most, I chose to focus first on sensory rest. I soon discovered that a lot of my mental and emotional exhaustion stemmed from living on what I call sensory overload. So this sensory rest, I started to really be intentional about resting my sensory inputs, everything I was hearing and seeing and touching and smelling and speaking or listening to. When I started to do that, I learned that I could calm my nervous system. And a calm nervous system helped me to quiet my mind. Yes, you heard that right. A calm nervous system can help you quiet your mind. And that led me to be better able to have more capacity to manage my emotions, to feel everything I felt, to process what I was feeling, and to express what I was feeling, what I was experiencing. And I could do that with more grace and ease. And all of that came because I focused on sensory rest. And that's what I want for you too. So as you move through this week, I hope you feel the connection between rest and creativity in a new way. I hope that rest isn't simply a pause in your life, but a path into deeper clarity, inspiration, and alignment. And if you're craving more rest, wanting to reconnect with your creativity, or needing support as you design your next chapter, you can reach out to me anytime if you're ready to explore this work, this inner work, more personally. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you for joining me in today's conversation. I'm grateful for you and the beautiful work you are doing. If this episode resonated with you, I would love you to share it with someone you know. And if you're feeling called to, please leave us a review. Reviews help more listeners find the show. And more listeners finding the show helps us build this community and create conversations that support you and your beautiful, meaningful, creative life. Until next time, I hope you rest well, create more of what you love in your life, and keep noticing what restores you. We'll be back next week for more Beautiful Work, Beautiful Life. Bye for now.